So all of a sudden, you're going to lose because you opted, as you both acknowledge, for star power, offensive star power over defensive firepower. And you've lost your edge. You've lost your tone setter in Drew Holiday on defense. And so, as Richard pointed out, they were fourth. They finished fourth in defense last year. They're 22nd in defense right now. It's not good enough, even though they're 30-13, to contend with Boston if you get to a championship round in the East. So I can't condemn the firing. I think it's cold-blooded. I think it's not fair to Adrian Griffin. I think he could make a very good head coach. He deserves a second opportunity that's not as flawed as this one was from the start. And yet, Keyshawn, you mentioned Doc. I know Doc well. You've been around him for a long time. It's funny to me because we think he's going to be the next head coach here. He obviously played college basketball at Marquette in Milwaukee, so he would be a hometown sort of favorite. But the Doc I know, as we speak, he's looking at this situation saying, I don't know, man.
Right.
It's like it reminds me of Michael Clark Duncan in Talladega Nights saying to Ricky Bobby, don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby, because this is an evil, man. This is like, how can you win with this? Like, if Doc comes in and takes over this team, it's championship or bust. Doc, can you turn this completely around and go beat Boston?
Skip, I think no matter where Doc would coach next at, because it's Doc Rivers, is going to be championship or bust.
Right.
He can take the worst team in the NBA. People are going to assume they're going to a championship because, again, he has won a championship. He's been to 2 finals with the Celtics. He's had the Clippers in the running before. He's gotten the 76ers into the playoffs. So people are automatically going to assume this is an easy fix. Now, one of the things that I would say about Adrian Griffin aligned with these veteran players, I think it's a better move to have a veteran coach be able to align themselves with a veteran coach, because a veteran coach like a Doc Rivers has a better, I would think he has a better understanding of the pressure points for Dame Lillard, for Giannis, for Lopez, for Middleton, to understand, Skip, how to put them in the right places for a confidence level, because NBA is all about the players. At the end of the day, you put it on autopilot when you got these type of dudes.
I agree.
Then you just make a little move. It's almost like
I agree.
It's almost like Major League Baseball, Skip. You know, the managers are good for 5 wins. That's it. The rest is all about the players.
Yeah, and I think it's tough because I don't know if I've ever heard of this kind of situation working out, ending in an NBA championship, where you fire your coach mid-season and then your team goes on.
I can tell you where it worked out at, in Miami. Pat Riley. Pat Riley came from the booth down to the floor, and they won the NBA Finals.
But he was already connected to the organization.
Yeah, he was connected to the organization.
And that's Pat Riley.
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying, you said I wanted you to know that.
I appreciate that history lesson, because I did not know that. But it just seems like a situation, and it's not like, and I understand what you're saying about the expectations for Doc, but he hasn't had a tremendous amount of success outside of Boston.
Doesn't matter, though, Richard.
And that's all I'm saying is, it's for him to have that expectation, and it's not like he's gotten along necessarily with superstars consistently. There was beef with Chris Paul. There was beef with, and then James Harden in Philly, and then Joel Embiid. So it's not like sometimes he rubs guys the wrong way the same way. And so it's not like there's a guarantee that he fits in with Giannis and Dame and doesn't rub them the same wrong way that he rubbed the other superstars. Or they could get along. But if the expectation is that all of a sudden the defense is going to get better because of Doc Rivers, I just don't know if that's true, because that's not Dame's game. That's not what he's not going to be a defensive stopper no matter what. He's going to put the ball in the basket. He's going to score points. He's going to be an offensive-minded player, and he's going to have that kind of success as he had his entire career. And if you're expecting that to turn around regardless of who the coach is, I think you're out of your mind. And that's where I don't understand the firing, because the things that you're trying to address, hey, they're not getting along with him. Hey, they don't buy into the scheme. Hey, they don't. I don't know if those things change, even if you hire Doc Rivers, because maybe he goes back to Bud's scheme, but then you're just reverting back to what they did well last year. You know, as you said, they were fourth in defensive efficiency. Well, maybe you shouldn't have fired him in the first place, because now you're literally just trying to get back to where you were, and you fired the guy because he lost to to a hot Miami Heat team that really ran through the playoffs last year. And so if you don't make a knee-jerk reaction in that situation, you still have Bud, you still have a great defense. You don't make a knee-jerk trade for Dame and get rid of Drew Holiday, then you don't have these same issues, but maybe your issues are scoring. And now you're number one in scoring, but you're not happy with it. So it's like, you're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul and getting frustrated with the results.
And Richard, remember this also. Management in Milwaukee loves Doc, has known Doc for a long time, and brought Doc in fairly consistently this year as he worked for ESPN as an analyst to help mentor Adrian. So Doc has been around Adrian and the team and the dynamic and the situation and all the issues. He knows what's going on inside that team because he's been around the team on and off all year long. So management is saying, well, at least he has a feel for the team in the first place. But to your point, he hasn't won since 2008. So we're 16 years removed from a team that featured, obviously, Paul and KG and Ray and Rondo. And Doc did a masterful job at, as Keith said, 2 finals, won one of them against the Lakers, as you well remember. And yet it's been so long for Doc. And Keith, just the stats that you brought up, remember, he's blown 3 3-1 leads in the playoffs.
That's why they got to go 2-2.
4. Yeah, there you go.
Sweep.
But he's blown 4 3-2 leads. 4 times they've been up 3-2, and he blew all 4 of them. He also blew a 2-0 lead, and in series in which, in 7-game series in which they've had 3 wins, he's 16-33 with 3 wins in a 7-game series. So think about that. It's horrendous. It's all-time bad.
So why is he, if and you're reading the numbers out what the numbers speak, they're the facts, why is he held in such high regard amongst the NBA community?
I think you could speak to this. He's such a good guy, and he's so smart, and he speaks basketball so fluently, and you would think that, like Phil Jackson, he could juggle superstar egos because Doc has superstar in him. He was not a superstar player, but he's a very good player. And he's just so charismatic. He's so personable, so likable. You've been around Doc a lot. I mean, you just can't help but like him, right?
Yeah,
I think he's built up a lot of goodwill around the league just with his personality.
It's tough to win in these leagues in general, whether it's Major League Baseball, whether it's football, whether it's basketball. It's just hard to, it's only one team coming out in the end.
Right.
Is he the most qualified, best coach available? Probably so right now. Probably in this type of situation where everything aligns itself, where he is a frequent visitor, as you say, to the Milwaukee Bucks and the facility, and they kind of have a somewhat of a relationship. You trust the feeling that he can come in, and he may not fix the defense. That may not be the case, but enough adjustments to where they're not in the cellar, they're good enough to still compete because on the offensive end, they're dynamic. And so they can give up a little bit more on the defensive side and still be in the mix at the end of the year. I'm thinking that's the way the ownership group in Milwaukee is thinking about this possibility of bringing him in because he could take them there and then go from there, opposed to sitting where they're sitting at with Adrian as the coach.
I just feel like the success he had in Boston, they bought into the culture. They bought in, they believed in what he said, they believed in one another. The superstars bought in, and once they buy in, it is what it is. When you're the substitute teacher or you're a part-time coach, you don't have to be there through the adversity. You don't have to be there through the hard times. You can walk out the building and come back when it's good and then walk out. But when you're the full-time head coach, you got to be there all the time. So I understand he's had this relationship and he's been there and he's helped out. But it's different when you're full-time and then things start going bad and guys start disagreeing with you and guys start being frustrated with minutes and hey, I'm not getting enough shots. You're not calling enough plays for me. Then things start to fall apart. So I think sometimes it's fool's gold when you say, hey, he's been around the team a lot and they really like him. It's like they like him because he's the substitute teacher. You know, he comes in every now and then. They put a movie on. They watch a movie, have a good time, get some laughs, and then he leaves. And so I just don't see this being a solution where you fire a head coach mid-season and then hire another coach and then win a championship.
You remind me of a kid that would throw spitballs at the substitute teacher.
Sheesh, not me. Not me. I get along with the substitute teacher. I was good in school.
Good in school. Come on. I think that was you, Keyshawn.
Yeah. And when the substitute teacher was in school, though, Skip, I didn't go to class, so. Oh, well.
There it is.
Oh, well.
Wait.
How did it work out for me?
Look like it worked out well.
Keyshawn, did you even go to class when the real teacher was there? Or?
I took care of business. I think I'm okay.
Kids, don't miss class.
I think they're okay.
No, why are you telling them don't miss class?
Don't miss class.
Look at me. Worked out for me.
Don't miss class.
It's overrated.
You are something else.
All right, in a moment, we got to get back to the National Football League, the AFC Championship game. Richard Sherman is on deck. He's going to pick the winner of that game. Will he pick against Lamar Jackson?
Oh, that's easy.
No
mercy, no mercy, no mercy.